What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing you another video. Today's video, oddly enough, is downstairs, which I haven't been down here in a while doing videos, but don't ask me why. Next episode of the Powerpuff Girls 2016 reboot came out, so the episode was pretty good. The episode was entitled Strong Armed, which is okay. Interesting episode. So, if you want to know what the story was, well, let's just say the episode continues kind of with the previous episode by having Pack-Rat return for this episode. And the girls end up trying to stop him from collecting all sorts of shiny objects like he did in the previous episode. For those that do not remember, he was doing something pretty similar to that, although last episode it was him collecting other objects, but one object in particular was Octi, the octopus from the original show, and has also been in pretty much every other show. So that's cool. Overall, though, cool stuff. The episode following that, they end up fighting Pack-Rat, and Bubbles wants to help, but Bubbles is, always sweet, always kind, always nice and simple, while the other girls are tougher and more aggressive. Well, because of that, Pack-Rat actually has an army of rats with him, and when she tries to be nice to the rats, they end up attacking her, which is completely cool, right? No, not really, but anyway, following that, like, she ends up trying a whole bunch of things, and eventually she ends up pouncing at Pack-Rat, giving him a hug, and rather than being nice to her, I mean, at first he is, but then following that, basically he just knocks her away, and that's about it. So, following that little moment, unfortunately for her, she ends up breaking her arm. She breaks her arm, and so they have to bring her back to the professor, and the professor ends up getting a cast for her, and this is a very unique cast that for some reason has the ability to get longer, as well as also like create a cappuccino, I think, which is bizarre, but sure, why not? I mean, it's a cartoon, so yeah, why not? Anyway, after all that happens, she ends up learning that, like, this arm is actually pretty useful, and she ends up taking advantage of it in more ways than one by, like, fighting enemies, doing all sorts of stuff, and destroying buildings, which is cool, of course. I mean, wrecking some buildings even though you're supposed to be a superhero is normal, right? I mean, that happens every day. Anyway, all that goes on, and following that, she ends up naming her arm Armsy. When she ends up talking to her sisters after a moment where she ends up finding out that she has to take off her cast, which she doesn't want to do because she actually enjoys wearing it because it's made her a better person. She's become tougher. She's been able to defend her sisters, help them in many ways, and do other things as well. But she ends up, not being happy with the professor, not being happy with her sisters. So, following that, she ends up going out, causing some chaos by, bashing apple crates and bashing poles and other things, and even knocks a dog into the mayor's hands, which is cool, I guess. But anyway, all that happens. Eventually, her sisters try to calm her down, but she's not happy at all, and eventually, we end up seeing Pack-Rat, who I forgot to mention last time he had a thing for a hula dancing like statue that had like a bobblehead, and it was called Olga. But this time he has a thing. It's like a girlfriend kind of thing for a doll. Sorry for that. That was my phone. A doll in a box that is still sealed and everything. Though I'm not sure how good quality it is, but you get my point. But the thing is that he's collecting things for her, and this time, what happens is that when he's collecting things, Bubbles ends up knocking, I forget what it was, but I think it was like some object or something like that, towards where Pack-Rat is. Pack-Rat ends up being mutated, and he ends up having sewage and slime and all sorts of disgusting stuff around him, which is not good at all. but he ends up growing out of the the Townsville dump and ends up attacking the city. So Bubbles obviously has to help, and she realizes when she sees her sisters attacking the monster that what can she do? It's not. She needs to figure out something. So she realizes, what? The best thing I should do is probably probably get rid of Armsy. So what she does is she presses a button to self-destruct it, and it has 20 seconds on it. Now, the thing that I personally have no idea why it is the fact that they say that. Because, the thing is that if you're self-destructing a cast that can explode, Bubbles should die. Well, what happens is that she ends up going up to the gigantic pack rat and giving him a hug. Well, seconds later, it explodes, and then they make a joke with the narrator saying, and once again, the day is saved thanks to the Powerpuff Girls, but he's crying, and you see in loving memory of Bubbles or something like that, and it's just like, what? But then following that, they say, wait, the episode's not done, and then they go back and they show that Bubbles is fine. See, I get the logic behind making that joke showing how unrealistic it is, but it's kind of dumb. It kind of is, and I don't understand why they went out of their way to do that. I mean, personally, Bubbles should have actually thrown the cast at Packrat. I don't understand why she even went up to give him a hug. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. And I know that she has some immunities because of her powers, but still, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, at least to me. Also, for those of you who have been having conversations with me about the psychological ideas in the show, they still appear in this episode, which is fascinating to me that we're still seeing them. This time, it's kind of like the same thing again with anthropomorphic behavior, and I'm going to mention that in the comments of the video, of course. She gives life to Armsy. There's also a mention of something towards the end called Legsy, which is, I'm not sure if she ends up breaking her leg or not, but they mention something regarding that, so that's a thing. And again, giving life to something that's not living. Not really sure why that is, but then again, I mean, these are little girls. They're not supposed to be older characters where, it would be really unusual to see them showing this behavior, but since they're young, there's logic, because kids tend to do that kind of stuff. So that's about it, though. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I would love to know in the comments what you guys think of today's episode. Did you enjoy it? Do you think that Armsy was an interesting thing to have? Which characters, again, do you want to see be reintroduced? I mean, we've only seen a couple of villains so far be reintroduced, and a good number of side characters. So, love to know in the comments. Again, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, guys, I'm Crazy Samurai 71, and this has been my Powerpuff Girls episode 9 review. Forgot to do that before. 9 review. So I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, guys, goodbye.